Let's talk about township property today, Slee.
One of my favorite topics.
I know. We both can relate to township properties because we were brought up by mothers with 2 rooms and a garage.
Yes.
And they took us to school with those.
My mom was a teacher, yours was a nurse. Typical.
Black
story.
Children in the house,
Yeah.
they needed to be fed.
Absolutely needed to go to university.
And they needed to go to university.
You know?
My goodness, yeah. Let me tell you about my mom's story. My mom's 2 room and a garage. We lived in the 2 room and garage while our actual house was being built.
Okay.
After another story, trauma with a contractor. So we lived in the 2 room and a garage with Mama, and then our house was ultimately finished, and then we moved into our house. And lo and behold, those rooms have housed 3 long-term tenants at different times, right? Our first tenant lived for about 9 years.
Yeah.
Second tenant lived for about 5.5 years. And the last one lived there for about 2 years and a bit.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the story when we get to it. But Mama is taking down the rooms and going commercial now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So our story with township rooms, right? I think I've told the story before, was that we had our main house, then we had 2 rooms at the back and a garage, which my mom built when she was still working, obviously. And I've told the story before how when she passed away, those 2 rooms were the ones that helped us from a cash flow perspective to weather those storms until her affairs were sorted out, right? And we all know the story. We've seen how townships, back rooms are normal, are common, and they actually help the families for that additional income. And I've mentioned, we mentioned it in the intro of the video, that those rooms took us to school. They took us through university, because incomes can only stretch that far. And for us as a family, it stretched. It allowed us to survive even after Mom was no longer there.
Yeah.
So that is the real power of property. And so sometimes we undermine and we don't look at how these rooms are actually creating wealth for our families.
Yeah.
We think that investing is buying some fancy apartment in Sandton or in Century City or in Brooklyn or some other new shiny development. That is where real wealth is created for the average black family in South Africa.
Absolutely.
And I think because of lack of knowledge and lack of access to knowledge, to finance, our parents have only managed to stretch it thus far, but still they were able to actually create real value, which is why we are quite excited to talk about this particular topic around township properties today.
Absolutely. And I think one thing we don't mention is, I don't know how yours was built. Mama built it from her salary of a nurse at the time, and I doubt it was beyond 5,000 rands. So it is a property that's what we call unencumbered. It doesn't have the burden of a bond. Paid up 3-bedroomed, bathroom and a toilet, separate, 2 rooms and a garage. That's wealth. Yeah, that's wealth.
So same as my mom as well. So my mom was built the rooms cash. So my mom was in all kinds of stokvels. She was a serial stokveller. And with her stokvel payouts, she would use it to buy building materials. And it took some time because she was building cash.
I know.
Some of these projects take some time to complete because she would need to obviously have enough cash, and then she would, maybe start with build this far, then get the material, etc. So, but mostly it was unencumbered, like you're saying. These rooms were built cash, which means that all the cash flow was just straight to the pocket.
Straight to the pocket. But speaking of which, actually, it took us about 3 years to the roof level with that house. They were more patient than we are. So they had, Mama, same thing. It was her salary, but she's always been a craftswoman. So she would knit jerseys and she would sell school jerseys to people at her workplace. So she made extra income with on top of her salary, and that's how the rooms were built. But I'm excited to tell you about how she's going commercial at 80.
Wow. Okay. Wait. So just set the scene for us. So the rooms have been there.
Yeah.
Mom is retired now, right? How old is she?
Long time. She's 84.
She's 84 years old, and she is now embarking on her own property journey with obviously your guidance.
Yeah.
You know, now that we know better, we're now taking this information to our families, and we're now saying, yes, Mama, you started here, but I can help you to get to the next level, because you already have something to start with, which a lot of people actually do. A lot of the township properties don't have bonds on them. They're unencumbered, as Miranda was saying. And that is where the magic lives. Your granny might be living there, your mom might be living there, and you might not be realizing that you're actually sitting on gold. And maybe you guys are busy as a family scratching each other. Oh, Vagugiti la, it's my grandmother's house. Instead of realizing the asset that you actually have and putting your differences aside to actually make something of it. So let's talk about Mama. She's 84. Mm-hmm. She's got these 2 rooms and a house that's paid up. Mm-hmm. She's now going commercial. What does that mean?
This means she is embarking on a journey. She is taking down the rooms and the garage to build units that each has got a shower and a toilet. And in 2020, while we were sitting, twiddling our fingers, waiting for the virus to go away, she enrolled an architect to do the plans and to submit for approval. So she's got approved plans.
How many units?
She's going to have 5.
5, how many? 1 bedroom?
1 bedroom. Oh, 1 is a 1 bedroom. The other 4 are bachelors.
So is she going to take down the old structure of the rooms?
She has to take down the whole structure, because the 2 rooms apparently were built with, Mambara brick, the big one, the big concrete one, and the structure that she wants to do, and she's been advised that maybe instead of a normal roof, she has to put on a slab in case she wants to go up one day. And so to carry a structure that could have a first floor, she has to build a particular way. So the foundation has to be made a different way. So the architect was amazingly, he had a whole interview with her. What do you want to do? Why are you building them? She says, I've got 3 granddaughters, and because I don't have a trust fund, I'm building a trust fund for them.
Oh, that's so sweet, man. Okay, now wait. So Mama's 84. She clearly hasn't been working for some time. And you mentioned that she built her rooms using cash when she was still working. So now how is she going to be able to afford building these units?
There is finance. Oh yeah, let's start with that. That's such an important question to ask, Lee. When you are applying for finance as an 80-year-old, you've got to be properly structured. Because when you are going for a commercial build, the banks or the financier finances a company, doesn't
No, wait. Before you get there, so did Mama firstly try and go get a bond as herself?
She never did.
She never did.
She never did, because I'm here. Right?
Okay.
Come on.
Well done, Mama.
We know better. We know better. So an 80-year-old firstly is not going to be given a bond. They look at life expectancy ahead of her. She doesn't have 20 years. Hardly. And where is she going to get the finance? And she can't stand surety as herself only. So we had to do the structuring first. So we had to pull back.
All right.
Register a company.
Is Mama a director of this company?
Oh, yes.
So you can be a director even at 84?
Of course. Oh, geez. You can have a company until you're 102 years old, for as long as you live.
And now that company is the one that actually now applied for the funding for the project.
Is applying for the funding, 1. 2, the asset, which is the unencumbered house, has been transferred into the structure,
into the company,
right? So that the company can apply. So you can see the business is in the company. So Mama, the director, owns the business. So she will, and this business.
And she's got an asset.
She's got an asset
that can be used as collateral.
It can be used as a collateral. Yeah. So this is amazing, and that's the importance of structuring, because when you are waiting for, oh, but I'm 65 years old, how am I going to apply for finance? Of course, you're not going to get finances yourself, but the company can apply for finance in the commercial sense. And financing in townships, Lee.
Yeah. You want to invest in property without quitting your 9-to-5 job. You can. And we can show you how to do this through our mentorship program. We are currently in the middle of our current group of mentees, but we'll be opening up intake soon. Right, so what to expect then in the mentorship? We are covering everything from giving the right mindset for investing, because it's very important. We cover how to make sure that you choose the right strategy that's suitable for you, the area, how to identify investment areas, how to identify a profitable investment property, how to manage it so that you make sure that you make a profit, and just generally providing the support and that you need from not only ourselves but also our power team members who have been carefully chosen to ensure that your property investing journey is successful. Join the waitlist. The link is in the bio.
It's interesting because the banks will finance a house maybe, but financing for a project, for a building project, there are alternative finances outside of the big four.
Yes,
that can finance.
They are specifically targeted at financing backroom type investments.
Absolutely.
So did Mom have to rezone the property?
So Orlando is interesting.
Okay.
Orlando East has always had inikuku, back rooms, and so the rezoning is very interesting in that township.
Okay.
That if you get to up to 4 additional rooms, you do not have to rezone. But this one, yes, indeed, we are building as we are rezoning as well. So apparently it's allowed. And the financier that does this actually has found tricks of how things can be done, how to maneuver. So you do the transfer, you do the zoning as you start your project. So this is an
so for the initial 5 units,
yeah,
she doesn't need the zoning. But because she's put a slab for potentially extending,
she is going to have to
at that point that she will then need to rezone. But for now, she's good with
these ones.
And now she doesn't even need to put any cash in because she's using her house as the deposit.
Well, they do. Oh, commercial buildings, by the way, when you are applying for a project like that, you still have to put in a deposit.
Okay.
And because a commercial loan, they want your own skin in the game. When we say skin in the game, it means you also put down, you are committed to the project. To say, I'm committed to the project, the financier is going to come up with the 80% of the amount that's needed for building. You come up with the 20%. But because the 20%, she doesn't have the 20%. They're just like, we like the old lady. And we like propertypreneurs. At any age, they are giving her a discount here, 10%. And they're like, it's fine. So come up with a 10% loan. That's how I come in.
Okay.
I come in and she says, okay, I'll make you director in my company. And I'm putting the 10% in for the deposit because she doesn't have the 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story and it's so inspirational. So we probably have somebody who's watching this video. They maybe have a township home. Maybe there's 1 or 2 rooms. Maybe that they're using as a storeroom at the moment. You know. from what you've gone through with your mom's property journey, you know, from just having those 2 informal rooms in a garage, which in some families is actually rented out, you know, to shops or other people who need the working space. Sure. And now to actually her going through the process of having proper, you know, ensuite bathrooms, because sometimes these township back rooms, it's just a room. You literally get a room and then you must bath in a vascom and those kind of things. In a dish, I don't know how to call it, vascom, guys. So, but now that you're building like proper structures with like ensuite bathrooms and a little cute kitchenette, so it's like proper bachelor units in the township, which is what we want, right? We want to create proper living spaces for people. So what would you say if there's somebody who's watching this video and they've got a situation like that, they've got a house or even they've got space in the backyard, maybe it's an old home, mom is on pension, or maybe they've just had it in a long time as a family, for them to get from that point to actually getting proper units being built that are actually like, you know, of proper living standard for people, you know, that are actually dignified in a way.
So township properties, when honestly, are interesting because the 2-room and garage was allowed and continues to be allowed. You absolutely don't need any extra zoning, but just don't build without a plan. Get a proper plan. Yeah, get somebody to draw a plan and submit to your municipality. Takes a little bit of time and it is very minimal amount. I think something like 415 rands for submission.
Wow, okay.
Or something like that. And you wait a little bit because it has to go through various departments in the municipality, right? Or 2-room, where are you building it? Or in Orlando East, great. Okay, they check, the sewerage department has to sign it, fire department has to sign it, water and electricity departments have to sign it. That's how you get all the 4 stamps, and then the city town planner signs it to say 2-room and a garage, sharp. It's fine. So you have approved plans, because if you are going to apply like we did, this company is going to apply for finance, they will not finance an unapproved structure.
Okay.
There is just no way, right? Because the bank cannot put, it's risky to put in money on a structure that the municipality could ask for demolition.
Okay.
Yeah. So very important. So we have an approved plan, great, and we know that the structure, or when we have tenants, the sewerage and the water and whatever can be handled in that residence, because there are different townships where you cannot be allowed to do more than 2 rooms and stuff. So that's very important. So it is approved plans, and then structuring. I don't know how many times we've said this though. Structuring is like, it's at the core of any of your property investment journey. So if you don't structure, for instance, if the 2 of us are my mom's daughter and we didn't structure, we will always have differences in how we see things. But if it's put in a company, you can always buy the other person out without having to sell the whole property. You see what I mean? Without having to sell the whole property. When we've structured, and we structure and say, this property is owned by 2 directors, 50% is Slindile, 50% is Miranda, right? On a day when Slindile says, I'm moving to the UK, I'm not interested in township properties, can you give me my 50%? This company is able to borrow money somewhere else or borrow money from the bank so that we give you your 50%. We buy you out, we deregister you from this company, but this property doesn't have to be sold. But when it's encumbered with our names, and it's like, no, but it's my house, no.
You know, as you are talking, I'm actually thinking of something. You mentioned something very powerful in the beginning. You said your mom has got three granddaughters, and she's 84. And we know that, you know, according to longevity, she probably doesn't have much longer to go, right? So by her moving this family home out of her name and into an entity, she's now saving you guys the headache down the line, and also saving money, because her estate would have been made up of the current value of that house. So for it to be transferred either to you or to her 3 granddaughters, that would have incurred costs.
It does.
But now, if it's sitting in the company, she could even nominate her granddaughters as the shareholders right now.
Right now.
They don't have to wait for her to pass on before they start benefiting. They can start benefiting from that asset immediately, right now. When that unfortunate thing happens, there's no cost, there's no delays. The thing just continues running smoothly.
But that's the plan.
That's the thing about wealth creation. It's not just about creating the wealth. It's also about thinking, if your goal is to pass it down to your children and your grandchildren, you need to think about structuring. You need to think about, how then are my grandchildren going to inherit, and how do I make sure that I leave as much as possible to them as possible, and you don't lose it to lawyers and attorneys. So that's the important thing about structuring, and I think that's a very valid point that you've raised there.
Absolutely. And we keep talking, you and I, about how expensive death is. Eh?
It's very expensive.
Death is expensive. We spend a lot of money as brown people on the expense of a funeral, right? But what's gonna cost you even more is when you have got these properties, pieces of property that are in your name. These children will wait and think there's something that's gonna come out of your death, and discover that they have got estate duties that sometimes exceed the value of those properties, and those properties end up having to be sold. So death is very expensive, and I don't know how many times, but for as long as I live, it's probably something that I'm going to have to repeat, because I decided Khumo Property Academy is here about that. Yeah? We're going to teach people, and we're going to share this truth about how expensive death can be.
And not only about death, Miranda, I think we come from the situation that some of you that are watching this video might be. We talk about Township, we talk about backrooms. It's our lived experience. We've seen how it helped raise us and the gap that it filled in our own families from a cash flow perspective. And so now that we have been exposed, we are now taking that knowledge back to our families. Imagine your 84-year-old mother or grandmother could be benefiting from the knowledge you share with them as well. So that is why we do what we do, because nobody can tell our stories as well as we can, and nobody can teach the way that we can teach, because we've been there and we've seen the opportunities. We're actually even making a joke earlier about how actually renting out the garage over my friend, these townships, these plazas in the township. If you've got a residential at the back, so the garage is the commercial part, right? It's retail. It's retail. So it's actually a mixed use, right? But it's not the language we use in the township, but that's what it is. It's a mixed use property because it's got residential and retail, right? So that's the important thing about property, about sharing the knowledge. So my parting shot in this is, if Miranda's 84-year-old mother can do this at her age, what's your excuse?
What's your excuse, Ngempela? And family homes, there's wealth sitting there. If we can just stop thinking about them, about how selfishly who's living in it and whatever, we can turn that into the basis of our wealth creation in property investing.
As a family.
As a family, yeah.
So now that we've had these insightful conversations, and we want to be able to bring this to more people, right? So the best way to find out more about, the programs that we run, our workshops, we've got live events that we do, and we also have a mentorship program. Please subscribe to our mailing list. The list will be, the link will be in the description below. And if you want to get more videos like these, we'll be sharing more over the next couple of weeks. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel and switch on the notification button.